I hope that everyone who thinks, particularly those who doubted George's reasons and doubted his background, now understand that the jury knew everything that they knew was enough for them to find him not guilty.
To everybody that put their hoodies up, and to everybody who said, I am Trayvon, his family expressed their heartfelt gratitude for helping them these past 17 months.
In the circuit court of the
lawyers on the case speaking to the media after that verdict, and that shocked a lot of people across the country. And we're back now with Reverend Charles Williams and Rick Ector. Gentlemen, do you think that this case, I mean, let's go back. I mean, obviously we hate keep bringing race into this, but George Zimmerman was not even charged until weeks later, until the political pressure that people started speaking out and really got, emotions running because of this. Do you think now that there could be a civil case?
Let's talk about the issue of race. With the issue of race, and check this out. In the city of Detroit, we've had 411 homicides. In Chicago, 500 homicides. A lot of this is black on black crime. Where the real uproar comes from is when a non-black person shoots a black person, that black person dies. Then all of a sudden, then you get Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton want to roll into town and say, hey, we have a huge problem here, and we just totally ignore all the 411 people that were killed in homicides in the city of Detroit.
Is there a civil case here, though?
Let's look at Martin Luther King.
There is definitely a civil case here. One. Two, is this a race issue? Absolutely. Positively, 100%. If you would flip the script, it's obvious that whoever, Big Ray Johnson, who shot Lil Stevie, would be in jail right now. Would be no questions about that. The third thing is this. We are going to continue to mobilize nationally. Let me tell you why. We didn't mobilize nationally and have people like Jennifer Granholm and superstars and everybody else wearing hoodies, putting it on their Facebook and tweeting it out because it was a race issue, because it was an issue of injustice. And what was our call? Our call was for them to investigate. And that's all we're going to do now. So we're going to ask the United States Department to continue their investigation, because their investigation stopped when the state decided that they were going to step in and try this case.
Why don't you protest? Rick Ector actually made a point out. Why don't you protest black on black crime?
We do.
Clearly, there are more black on black crime than black on white crime.
That we do, and a lot of times that is not as sexy enough for the media to cover. But
stir up racial discord, and you bring in the national celebrities like Jesse Jackson.
What are you looking for? I guess. What do you want?
Racial warfare.
What is it going to show up? What do you want it to happen?
We want justice for Trayvon Martin.
What does that mean?
What exactly is justice?
Well,
you're saying you didn't get the verdict that you wanted. Justice is our system of jurisprudence where the prosecution failed to prove their case.
Hold on, Rick. Reverend, what do you want? You want jail for George Zimmerman?
On what basis? He couldn't prove the guilt.
We want jail. We definitely think that he should be charged with a crime and he should be in jail.
Just create a crime with no evidence and just make it fly so Charles can feel better.
You cannot do what people who follow Rick would like to do, and that's go run after kids, gun them down.
I just explained. Let's talking about kids. Let's talk about that kid at Martin Luther King High School where that 70-year-old high school student was escorting two young women out to their cars, and your Trayvon Martin or whoever else jumped out and pulled out a gun and threatened the lives of that 70-year-old man and those two women. That little kid, 16, 17, was shot in self-defense. We didn't see you say, hey, that was wrong. You know what? We should penalize the person for defending himself and defending them young women because that criminal was killed.
And where were you at? Where were you?
Where were you at?
I was there.
And
I know all about it.
And did you put forth a protest?
Do you know?
Do you put forth a protest? Do you put forth a protest when criminals threaten the safety of law-abiding citizens?
Do you
do that?
This is a racial issue here? Do you think that the result would have been different if it was the other way around?
Let Rick answer Rick questions. Here's the thing. If in this case, if the races was reversed, here's the thing. If the jury follows the evidence, and if the prosecution could prove that the defendant was in fact guilty, then there should be a guilty verdict. But they failed to do that, and Charles is upset. But here's the great thing: he gets to stir up the flames and grow his fledgling
Last comment with Charles Williams.
Emmett Till all over again. We're going to continue to stay with the family. And the bottom line is, I just ask that people pray for the Trayvon Martin family and those who were affected by this. There's very, very, very high passions around this issue.
Verdict in, but the argument far from over. Thank you both for joining us. All right, and more to come. Michigan has its own version of the Stand Your Ground law. Is it time to take another look at it in light of this verdict? Up next, the senator who wrote that law on Ladder Rip Weekend.